Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we are going to talk through All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks, published in 1999. But before we start, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Okay, let's get started. The author reflects on her childhood experiences of love and abandonment in the preface of the book. She recounts the pain of feeling unloved and the longing to return to that initial feeling of being cherished. She emphasizes the importance of letting go of past grief in order to find love in the present. In the introduction, she describes her encounter with graffiti art that spoke to her about the search for love and its continued importance despite the odds. She discusses the lack of public discussions about love in our culture and the cynicism that exists, particularly among young people. Hooks shares her own journey of exploring the meaning of love and notes that most books written on the subject are by men, while women are often seen as the practitioners of love rather than the theorists. Through personal experiences and observations of popular culture, she seeks to understand the meaning and practice of love in our society. The writer discusses the lack of understanding and confusion surrounding the concept of love in society. How dictionary definitions of love tend to focus on romantic love, and books on the subject often avoid giving clear definitions. Love should be seen as a verb, an act of will and choice rather than just a feeling. She introduces psychiatrist M. Scott Peck's definition of love as the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. The author also points out that many people confuse love with cathexis, investing feelings or emotion in someone, even if they are hurtful or neglectful towards that person. She emphasized that love and abuse cannot coexist. Hooks discusses her struggle to understand and define love, particularly in the context of their dysfunctional family of origin. They were raised in a family where they experienced both care and affection, as well as verbal and emotional abuse. This created confusion and uncertainty about what love truly means. Over time, through therapy and self-reflection, she came to realize that love encompasses more than just care and affection. Love is an action, involving commitment, trust, respect, and nurturing of one's own and others' spiritual growth. She also highlights the importance of having a clear definition of love and challenging societal misconceptions about love in order to cultivate healthy and loving relationships. Children associate love with attention, affection, and care. They often believe that their parents love them if they satisfy their desires. However, this perspective on love makes it difficult for children to develop a deeper understanding of love. Many children, even those who are being abused, still claim to love their parents and be loved by them. However, the reality is that many children in the United States experience lovelessness and are victims of abuse, neglect, and coercion. The private family dwelling can easily become an autocratic and fascistic sphere of power, where parents can decide what is best for their children without any intervention. This lack of basic civil rights for children prevents them from truly experiencing love. Abuse and neglect negate love, and it is crucial for parents to learn how to offer discipline without punishment and to create loving home environments. The author discusses the importance of love, honesty, and justice in relationships, particularly in the context of parenting and intimate partnerships. Parents should teach their children discipline and boundaries through allowances and respectful communication. She also emphasized the significance of love and guidance in teaching children the art of loving. The book then transitions to the topic of lying, highlighting its prevalence in society and its detrimental effects on relationships. The author suggests that lying often stems from a desire for power and control, especially in patriarchal cultures. She asserts that the acceptance of lying is tied to the maintenance of male dominance, as lying is used as a tactic to manipulate and subjugate women. Lying has damaging effects in relationships, particularly between men and women. It argues that when men lie to women, it diminishes their capacity to give and receive love, as trust is eroded. Men who prioritize dominance over love create barriers between themselves and genuine connection. Hooks emphasizes the importance of loving justice and repudiating the will to dominate as a way for men to return to love. However, it acknowledges that lying is not exclusive to men, as women also lie to manipulate men and reinforce patriarchal feminine stereotypes. The acceptance of lying in society perpetuates deceit and hinders the possibility of meaningful, caring connections. A commitment to truth-telling is necessary for nurturing love and spiritual growth in oneself and others. Hooks explores the concept of self-esteem and the importance of building a foundation of self-love. She discusses the stages of overcoming low self-esteem and highlights the importance of living consciously, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, self-assertiveness, living purposefully, and practicing personal integrity. She shares her experience with using affirmations as a tool for self-acceptance and restoring emotional equilibrium. The book also delves into the impact of societal influences on self-assertiveness, particularly for women, and how the feminist movement has played a role in validating the need for self-assertiveness. The importance of living purposefully, particularly in relation to work, is emphasized, with the understanding that doing work we love enhances our capacity for self-love. The chapter concludes by acknowledging the value of self-determination and satisfaction that comes from pursuing fulfilling work and embracing one's own uniqueness. Self-love has big impact on our well-being. Our work should enhance our self-esteem and not depress our spirit. Bringing love into the work environment can transform any job into a place where workers can express the best of themselves. Creating a blissful household can also nurture our growth and help us learn to be self-loving. The author challenges the misconceptions about self-love and highlights its importance as the foundation of our ability to love others. She criticizes the materialistic and consumerist culture that hinders spiritual awakening and calls for a renewal of love and community. The teachings of love by different spiritual leaders are explored, emphasizing the need to practice love actively and within the context of a larger community. The writer suggests that a commitment to spiritual life involves recognizing and celebrating the presence of divine spirit and embracing love as our true destiny. Hooks discusses the prevalence of nihilism in contemporary culture and how it affects our lives. She emphasizes the importance of love in countering feelings of despair and depression, and how spirituality provides the strength to love. She believes that living a life in the spirit, one that honors the sacred dimensions of everyday life, is crucial for finding happiness and meaning. She also explores the concept of a love ethic and how embracing it can transform our lives for the better. Living ethically and valuing human life and well-being over material advancement brings joy and fulfillment. However, many people are afraid to embrace radical changes and challenge the status quo, preventing them from living according to their values and creating a more just society. Embracing an unknown or radical change demonstrates our ability to confront fears and cope with them. However, the conservative status quo does not encourage us to face our collective fear of love because it would mean opposing public policies that conservatives condone. The fear of love must be confronted if we want to cultivate a love ethic that inspires us and empowers us to make necessary changes. Cultures of domination rely on fear to maintain control and perpetuate separation. Embracing a love ethic requires courage and a willingness to stand up for what we believe in, while recognizing that love has the power to cast out fear. Hooks's book also emphasizes the importance of challenging patriarchal thinking and demanding changes in the mass media to reflect images of love. It suggests that by operating from a love ethic, we can create positive change in our communities and society as a whole. Living by a love ethic requires courage and the ability to face our fears. In a culture dominated by materialism and narcissism, isolation and loneliness are prevalent, causing depression and despair. The focus on acquisition and consumption hinders the flourishing of love. The decline in the vision of democracy, brought about by wars and the failure of social justice movements, led to a culture obsessed with money and materialistic desires. Greed and exploitation became the norm, alienating and disconnecting people from one another. The lack of love and emotional fulfillment in our lives leads to addiction, as individuals seek relief from their pain through substances or materialistic pursuits. Addiction destroys relationships and makes love impossible. Our society normalizes dysfunctional relationships and the politics of greed, stifling the potential for love to flourish. The author explores the idea that greed and materialism have become dominant values in our society, leading to a devaluation of love and relationships. She argues that the pursuit of wealth and possessions takes precedence over caring for others and maintaining meaningful connections. The media plays a role in promoting consumerism while neglecting to provide guidance on nurturing relationships. This culture of greed erodes moral values and empathy, creating a society where the poor are deprived of social services while the wealthy prioritize their own interests. She critiques the shift in values from peace and love to profit and power, noting how the pursuit of material comfort has led to a hardening of the heart and a disregard for social justice. The chapter concludes by advocating for a return to simplicity and sharing resources as a means to resist greed and prioritize compassion. Hooks emphasizes the importance of community and love in our lives. She suggests that by resisting greed, changing public policy, and practicing gratitude for life, we can work towards saving the planet and building a more compassionate society. She argues that community is essential for human survival, and that the nuclear family is not the ideal model for raising children. Instead, extended families and friendships provide opportunities for love, connection, and learning the art of loving. She also highlights the need for honest communication, the value of friendship, and the importance of forgiveness in sustaining loving relationships and creating a sense of community. Overall, she promotes a love ethic that applies to all of our interactions and relationships. Forgiveness is discussed as a way to clear a path to love, as well as a gesture of respect. It is emphasized that forgiveness does not immediately make everything wonderful, and conflicts and negative outcomes can still occur in a loving community. The importance of understanding others and practicing empathy in order to forgive is highlighted. Solitude is seen as central to the art of loving and is encouraged as a way to truly look at oneself and shed the false self. Service is discussed as a necessary aspect of communal love and building community. Sacrifice and willingness to give up something for the collective well-being is emphasized, as well as the power of healing family wounds and strengthening community. The transformative power of love is explored through personal experiences of failed relationships. The author then discusses the dynamic of power and dominance in relationships, particularly focusing on how traditional gender roles and patriarchal thinking affect the understanding and practice of love. The chapter reflects on her experiences with two partners, highlighting how societal expectations of power dynamics often overshadow the importance of love. She emphasizes that power-driven individuals, both male and female, prioritize control over love and affection. She also criticizes the sexist messages portrayed in self-help literature that perpetuate gender inequality. She emphasizes the need to surrender attachment to sexist thinking in order to truly know and practice love. Commitment, honesty, communication, and acceptance of pain are essential in the journey towards love and emotional fulfillment. Hooks argues that in order to challenge male domination and create healthier relationships, men need to meet women's emotional needs and practice mutual love. She criticizes the men's movement for encouraging men to only express their feelings in a safe context, rather than seeking guidance from enlightened women. Suggesting that the practice of love takes time and effort, but is hindered by societal expectations of work and lack of prioritization. The importance of giving, forgiveness, and generosity in romantic relationships is emphasized, as well as the need to recognize and attend to the needs of others. She also challenges the idea of falling in love, and instead promotes the notion of choosing to love and actively nurturing relationships. In a patriarchal society, men are often pressured to prioritize sexual performance and pleasure above all else. They may engage in extramarital affairs or overwork to cover up their dissatisfaction in relationships. Women, on the other hand, prioritize emotional connection and are more likely to speak up about their needs. However, both men and women can settle for loveless relationships due to other attractive qualities in their partners. Sexual passion can enhance a troubled relationship but does not necessarily prove love. It is unfortunate that many people experience intense sexual pleasure with partners who harm them in other ways. Women tend to view sexual satisfaction within the context of loving and intimate connections, while men are often more concerned about sexual performance and satisfaction rather than love. The presence of sexually transmitted diseases has led to more communication between couples about their sexual behavior. The shift in societal attitudes towards open dialogue about sex has dispelled the belief that talking kills romance, leading to a transformation in how we think about love. Rather than expecting love to happen effortlessly, it is important to actively seek and open oneself to the potential for love. True love can occur even when it does not lead to sexual pleasure or committed relationships. It is not as simple or easy as the fairy tale notion of love. It requires work and the willingness to face challenges and obstacles. The essence of true love lies in recognizing and accepting one another as our true selves, beyond the masks and false selves we often present in the initial stages of a relationship. True love is a profound connection that allows us to see and accept each other at our core. It challenges us to grow and transform, nurturing us with ecstasy and a commitment to help each other achieve self-unfoldment. This love is unconditional, yet it requires ongoing constructive struggle and change to thrive. It is built on honesty, openness, and deep dialogue, which may be unfamiliar to those who have not experienced loving connections. Fear of true love often leads people to turn away from it, as it forces them to confront aspects of themselves they may wish to deny. To truly love, we must be willing to surrender the will to power and be transformed. Love gives life meaning and allows us to embrace our true selves. The cultural obsession with death distracts us from the power and importance of love, but true love remains a deeply desired and transformative experience. Hooks explores the power of love in facing life-threatening illness and death. Many people only truly appreciate life when faced with the possibility of their own mortality. Love is portrayed as a transformative force that enables us to confront death with courage and embrace the loss of loved ones. She emphasizes the importance of befriending death and recognizing it as a natural part of life. She also discusses the stigma around grief and the need to allow oneself to grieve openly and fully. Love is presented as a means to sustain ties with the deceased and honor their memory. She also highlights the significance of living in the present moment and embracing change. Healing begins when we embrace suffering as an opportunity for growth. James Baldwin writes about the importance of suffering in discovering oneself. However, not all pain needs to be inflicted by violence and abuse. Families can be functional and provide love, resolving conflicts in healthy ways. Seeking healing is an individual responsibility, but support from others is still necessary. Prayer and communion with Divine Spirit offer solace and accountability, while waiting and surrendering allow for transformation. Serving others and practicing compassion and forgiveness are also crucial in the healing process. By simplifying our lives and embracing the sensual, we can experience the profound pleasure of being present in the world. Love is redemptive and gives us hope, reminding us to always choose love over cynicism. Hooks explores the role of fear and cynicism in inhibiting love. She suggests that fear intensifies doubt and acts as a barrier to love, while faith and hope can help release fear. Perfect love is seen as a redemptive force that can overcome fear and heal the soul. She highlights the need to let go of the desire for power, as it stems from fear and hinders the ability to fully experience love. The concept of angels is also discussed, with angels representing messengers of the divine and embodiments of innocence. The story of Jacob's confrontation with an angel is used as an example of the journey towards self-actualization and spiritual growth, where facing one's fears and wounds can lead to transformation and blessings. Healing occurs when one embraces their wounds as blessings and takes responsibility for their actions. We all carry wounds from childhood into adulthood, but by embracing them, we can find salvation and healing. Jacob's story teaches us the importance of accepting vulnerability and facing our conflicts to achieve reconciliation. As a society, we must acknowledge the wound of lovelessness and have the courage to confront and change our hearts. Angels, whether in human or spiritual form, guide and protect us on our journey to love and well-being. These angelic forces can be found in individuals who offer love, guidance, and understanding, including authors whose books open our hearts to compassion and forgiveness. Recognizing the presence of unseen spirits in our lives reminds us of the mysterious aspects that cannot be explained by human intellect. Engaging in a disciplined spiritual practice of opening our hearts leads us to become seekers on the path of love, facing our fears and embracing love's truths. Choosing love, despite the risk of betrayal, allows us to listen to the voices of hope and angels, leading us to an earthly paradise where love is our true destiny. Thank you so much for watching this video. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We'll see you in the next video.